Dub Nation, what's up? Welcome in. You're watching Golden State Warriors Today by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Thank you so much for joining us today. And no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making Warriors Today a part of your day. Before we get started, so much to get to on today's show. Really appreciate all of your support of the channel. And if you continue to support us, we can overtake the Los Angeles Lakers report on the road to 50,000 subscribers. Now, I understand a little bit of an uphill battle here, right? They're a little more than 200 people away from 50K. We're a little more than 1,000 people away from 50,000 subscribers. I still think that we can beat the Lakers report, and it's a great rivalry on the floor in the NBA and inside the walls here at Chat Sports. So if you want the best, most informative, most entertaining, most consistent, the fastest Warriors coverage all year round, lock us in. And if you think that we can beat the Lakers report to 50,000 subs, give me a dubs down below in the comments section. A lot of great questions to answer on today's show, and with that, we're going to take a look at a lot of numbers, a lot of different trends. We're going to look ahead to the NBA playoffs and unpack it all. So the first one coming in here from Zaza, and I want to go through a couple of these questions here because they're all Andrew Wiggins related. Obviously, that's the biggest topic of conversation right now when it comes to the defending NBA champion. So Zaza with this. We deserve to know when Andrew Wiggins is coming back. Don't need to know the reason why he's been out, but I do pray every day for his and OHANA's happiness. This one coming in from Ichiro. What the heck is up with Andrew Wiggins? And then our guy, Chua Lore, who watches all of our shows, has his noties on, always down in the comment section. Be like Chua. How should the Warriors and what should they do with this Andrew Wiggins situation? So let's address all of these questions here. I do believe that it is the public's right to kind of know what's going on with Andrew Wiggins. And I think the Warriors as an organization, they've done a decent job of at least giving us some updates here and there. But it's almost like Andrew Wiggins doesn't know when he's going to come back. And then the Warriors don't know when he's going to come back either. And this is one of the biggest mysterious storylines in the NBA right now. Why is that? Well, it's a couple of things, right? Andrew Wiggins coming off the best season of his career. First-time NBA All-Star last year. He was the second-best player in the NBA Finals behind the Finals MVP in Steph Curry. Lockdown defense on Jason Tatum. He was fantastic, right? And for him to mysteriously be out now for more than 20 games, be away from the team without any updates, and without knowing what his future is, yeah, it's a little bit odd. And there's a bunch of speculation and a bunch of internet rumors as to why he's out. There are theories about his wife and significant other, his kids, one of his best friends. All of this is really wild. We're not going to talk about it until we exactly know what's happening, but Warriors fans want to know. And again, it's easy to see why. Because Andrew Wiggins, before he went out, he was dealing with an injury earlier this year. Then he's out of the lineup because of these mysterious circumstances. He was having a really good year. And Warriors fans understand that to repeat as NBA champions, they need this guy in the lineup because of his high-level defensive play and him also being really good offensively. 17 points per game this year, 5 rebounds, 47% from the floor, nearly 40% from beyond the arc. He was putting together a really good season, and his numbers this year in some categories even better than when he was an all-star last year. This is a guy who can get a bucket from anywhere, backdoor cuts, throwing down some dunks, extremely great athlete, high-level defender. He can really do it all. That's why the Warriors have missed him so much. So if you want to see Wiggins return, it's good luck, right? Hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. I want to see him come back. I love him as a basketball player, and mentally I hope he's okay. And if it is a family situation, hopefully things work out and he's able to get back on the right track. Iran with this one. Is it true that Golden State is going to be signing Serge Ibaka? It's not going to happen. Look, for a player to be brought in by an organization and to be eligible for the playoffs, that needed to happen back on like March 15th, I believe. So if you bring in Serge Ibaka, he's not going to be eligible for the NBA playoffs. And I think the Warriors' rotation is somewhat set. We're going to talk about that rotation coming up because this question, checking in from Brody. What do you believe the playoff rotation will look like with Andrew Wiggins back and without Wiggins back? Well, I'm not sure because that's a huge hypothetical. We are literally not sure if Andrew Wiggins is going to be back for the end of the regular season, which we're already pretty much there, NBA playoffs starting in a couple of weeks, or in the playoffs. Steve Kerr has been experimenting with a couple of different starting lineups, and in turn, some of these lineups have been the closing lineups as well. When they want to go up against a more athletic and smaller small ball team, this is one of the lineups that Steve Kerr has been utilizing a lot. You have Steph Curry, Dante DiVincenzo, Klay Thompson, Jonathan Kuminga with Draymond Green playing at the 5. This gives you a lineup where you can match up against some of those other smaller, bouncy, athletic lineups that doesn't have a true center like a Joel Embiid. And in turn, I think this gives you a pretty good defensive lineup as well, because outside of Steph, who is a little bit of an underrated defender at this point of his career, these are pretty high-level and athletic defenders in Draymond, DiVincenzo, Kuminga, and Klay Thompson. Now, when the Warriors go up against a team with a good starting 5, if they have to take on a Joel Embiid, a Karl Anthony Towns, another big center out there, this is the other starting and closing lineup that sometimes you see. And sometimes you don't have Jonathan Kuminga in there in the guts of the game because he's still a young and inexperienced player. Steph Curry, Dante DiVincenzo, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, that remains the same. But then you insert Kevon Looney into that lineup as well. So those are two starting lineups here and closing lineups as well that we just talked about. Which lineup do you like better? Is it the first one? Is it the second one? It really is matchup based, but let us know and share your thoughts as well. Juan Trevino, can Jordan Poole stay consistent enough to help the Warriors win the NBA championship? Well, last year, I thought he's a pretty consistent player. In the NBA playoffs, he did have great moments offensively where he was going off. It was fireworks at the Chase Center or whatever visiting arena they were at. But also, he had a couple of struggle bus games, right? Where he wasn't able to put the biscuit in the basket. He couldn't find Twine, but that's okay. Jordan Poole is your missile seeker off the bench, and it's almost like he's a luxury, right? When Steph Curry is playing, you don't have to worry as much about Jordan Poole. When Steph Curry is out, you need Jordan Poole to score between 20 and 30 points per game because the offensive manufacturing needs to come from somebody in order to put points on the scoreboard. But when you have him as a sixth man, you can afford for him to go in some of these lulls, to have some of these streaky moments where he's hot, then he's cold, because you can always count on Steph Curry, Klay Thompson to kind of carry the boats, right? For Jordan Poole, still having a really good year when you look at the overall numbers, 20 points per game, 43% from the floor, 33% from three, but these numbers do go to show you here that he is a very hot and cold Jekyll and Hyde type of player, where some nights he's going to be cooking. And he's going to be having you saying, my goodness, Jordan Poole's going off. Other nights, it's like, please sit him on the bench. This guy can't buy a bucket. Let's round out with this. Question coming in from Basketball International. Unfortunately, I know it's unlikely the Warriors signed Kai Sotto, but any update on how he's doing this year? So he's still playing for the Adelaide 36ers in the NBL. That is the National Basketball League in Australia. It is one of the best international leagues outside of the NBA. You have some really good European leagues. You have the CBA in China, which is great. The NBL is certainly up there, and we've seen a lot of pro prospects who skip out on going to college or the G League, like a LaMelo Ball, RJ Hampton. Instead, they play in the NBL, and they're able to develop their skills against some really high-level professional players. Kai Sotto did play in the G League, then he went to the NBL. Unfortunately for him, did not get drafted last year in the NBA draft. This year, somewhat mysteriously, that the 7+ footer is still not getting that much run. He has played 27 games this year. He is only averaging less than 13 minutes per game. When he is on the floor, he's playing solid ball, but still some gaps in his game. A little bit slow with his feet, which doesn't help him by any means, especially the translation to the NBA level where it's a pick and roll, pick and pop game where you run a little two-man action. He would get put in a turnstile in a lot of NBA games. But 6.8 points per game in less than 13 minutes is solid. So too is the rebounding production. He's shooting more than 51% from the floor, a little less than a block per game. The lack of athleticism does affect him a little bit on the defensive end of the floor in terms of his rim protection. What I have liked, although it hasn't resulted in a lot of great success, is that he is shooting the three ball at least a little bit, and to expand the floor, to stretch the floor, that's something that he needs to improve upon. I don't know. I don't know if Kai Sotto is an NBA player. I think he's a good international player. For our Filipino audience, of course, if you're pushing that P, let us know down in the comment section. You all want to see Kai Sotto as the first Filipino-born player to get drafted. That didn't happen. We'll see what happens. But if you think Kai Sotto can play in the NBA, type Kai down in the comment section. And if you want to do the Kai dance, Kai, 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 type me if you're doing that dance from home right now or wherever you're watching the show.